The Todd Shapiro Show.
Time to hit the button!
On Canada Talks, SiriusXM 167.
Brandon Ward, Lifted Innovations, my man, our Gary Vaynerchuk of the Todd Shapiro Show. And yeah, I think he wouldn't mind us comparing him to Gary V. And that's what he does. Every time I talk to this man on air and off air, I feel better about myself. I feel more confident about myself. And I go and get it because that's what he does and that's what he's doing with Lifted Innovations. How are you, bud?
I'm doing well, Todd. Thank you, sir. Always appreciate your intros. I've got a long way to go before I get there, brother.
Hey, don't worry about it, man. You just, you are getting there in your honesty and your authenticity. You said that last week. Authenticity is the new currency. It's really stuck with me.
Yeah, man. There's two sides of the argument, right? With technology, social media, the dystopian viewpoint on things. I tend to stay more on the optimistic, positive side, and that's one of the upsides I think to tech and social media is that it forces us to be transparent and honest, man. So authenticity, I truly believe, is really going to be a big part of the world as it continues to evolve and change.
You are building out Lifted Innovations and lifted.com over there. And what I wanted to ask, and, you know, how important is it, and I sort of know the answer to this, but, you know, for everyone listening, to really research and understand your market before you launch something?
Well, it's very important, I think, from a business perspective, Todd. First and foremost, do you have an opportunity at hand, right? And you're talking to investors. That's a big thing that they want to understand is really what are you capitalizing on here? What's the opportunity you're looking to grow into and what's the upside from a financial perspective? But, you know, the market's going to tell you where the opportunities are. I'm a big believer in that, especially being an e-commerce focused company. You know, we have the ability to use data and the internet to really research and find market opportunities. So we use really on a day-to-day basis in terms of data and how we make decisions to really power and drive our business.
Very exciting stuff. And how is everything going on the business front?
It's going well, man. We're growing. The guys, so the thing that we mostly, Todd, and I know you know this, but the listeners might not, we mostly sell, most of our customers are U.S.-based. About 95% of our customers are in the U.S., so we're a U.S.-focused company. But we mostly sell glass, accessories, vaporizers, and things of that nature. But we're looking to get our CBD marketplace up and launched and fully live and ready to go at the end of the month here in March. So we're very excited about that, man, just because, you know, those markets are rapidly growing. There's a lot of opportunity, and we see the opportunity in the market to help bring clarity for consumers around brands, products, quality, all that kind of stuff. So we want to become a strong brand in that space to help guide consumers through the process of choosing the products they go with.
And speaking of those consumers, essentially clients, you know, not only obviously once you do the market research and understand where things are going, but how important is to listen to them as well to help maybe evolve or change from a plan?
Oh, man, it's critical for us. At least that's part of our philosophy as a company. If we're not listening to our customers and who we're really serving here, because at the end of the day, man, that's how investors get value out of our company is by listening to the market. I mean, I'm a big believer in that. You know, if you're open, you should always be willing to listen to our consumers and our customers, because I mean that's really what drives the business. So, dude, that's the nice thing about what we do online is there's plenty of ways to get feedback, whether it's reviews, emails that customers send in. We do surveys. We're always looking to gain in on how we can get better.
Important for every business. Don't forget about the customer feedback. And I think a lot of companies sometimes get ahead of themselves, especially with early success, but things can fall quickly if you don't, correct?
100%, man. I think sometimes we start drinking our own Kool-Aid. For me, the customers are always our anchor. And if you're not listening, man, because, dude, honestly, Todd, like one of the things that I love about being a CEO, and one of the things that dissatisfied me in my past work history is that I'm a dope kind of guy. So I love the fact as a CEO I can delve into all these varying aspects of the business, right? Marketing, operations, investments, investors, all these types of different things. But, dude, it's so easy to forget who we're serving at the end of the day. And oftentimes, like you said, we get a taste of success and we start thinking that we know better than the market. And I can promise you, man, that's never the case. We never really know better than the market does. The market will always keep us honest. And for me, that's why us as a team, we look to that to gain insight, really about how we're building our products and our platforms.
Brandon Ward, CEO of Lifted Innovations, at Brandon Ward CEO is where to find him on the Twitter machine. I think sometimes in life, and I'm guilty of this, I think many people are guilty of this. Well, it doesn't matter if you're just kind of at home with the family in your busy lives or frustrated in traffic or, starting a new business, a startup and always being a hectic schedule. But is it hard for you to not get caught up in the day-to-day challenges of running the business and as opposed to sort of carving out time once a week, twice a week, once a month, even to kind of just take stock in what you're doing for the long-term health of that business?
Yeah, Todd, as a leader in the company, with the company, as a CEO, I have to be thinking about those varying aspects. So there's strategy, which is that high-level, long-term strategic decision-making that I think is critical as a leader in a business, no matter what business you're running. If you're driving a business, you have to always be thinking about that. That's going to dictate the day-to-day and the priorities as a company. So strategic is that high-level thinking. The next level is the tactical, which is the day-to-day, the fires, how are we attacking problems that are coming up now. When we started, there were 3 of us. There's now 12 people on our team. So having a great team around me enables me and us as a company to get things done a lot more effectively and efficiently from a tactical perspective. But that allows me to also focus on that high-level strategic thinking, which is truly what I love, man. Problem solve, strategic thinking. This is the fulfilling part of my job, other than the people.
And obviously focusing on the rewards too. It's okay to be proud of the accomplishments, right?
Oh man, so much so. Otherwise, that's what makes it fun, To make money, all businesses thrive on being profitable, successful ventures. That's ultimately what allows us to do things that we enjoy. I talk to my team about that all the time, that we got to get our money right and our margins and all these things. We need to always be thinking about that, because that's what enables us to have a great work environment and for us to continue to do the things that we love to do together. So you always got to be focused on that. And really, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, man. So, but, the team, man, that's where I lean on heavily, is having those guys around me. LiftedInnovations.com, primarily a U.S.-focused marketplace business, and Brandon Ward is the CEO. You also split time between the Toronto offices here and your offices is it San Diego? Is that where else you are? I forget. Yeah. Yep. I have a little shared space down here, Todd, that I use just because it's me right now solely in California. So I just do a little floating hot desk, which works for me. I'm actually in a little quiet booth here now with our call. But the majority of our team is up in Toronto. We have a few people in Florida as well who are customer service. So we're trying to focus the company around certain locations, though.
Not to necessarily generalize one country to the other, but are there, and just from your past experiences as being an American, are there differences in sort of a younger demographic American versus a Canadian in the workplace? Have you noticed any differences? Or, again, I'm just sort of throwing out a Hail Mary here in terms of does this even apply to anything? But I just wonder if there's differences in the workplace, do you notice, from Canadians to Americans?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, man, I've been because this has really been my first experience working directly with Canadians on a consistent basis. And the thing that I've been most impressed with is the work ethic. There's a very, very strong work ethic, at least for people that we have on our team. The people in Toronto and Ontario are grinders, man. They love what we're doing. So I've been very appreciative of that. And it's exciting to see everyone buy into what we're doing. But also, man, Canadians do generally, I know it's kind of stereotypical, but are very friendly, man. I live in California, so there's almost 40 million people in California alone, right? That's about the same size as the entire country of Canada. So there's just there's a nice balance between the big city hustle of Toronto, but also still that small town feel, which shows in the ethic of the work ethic of Canadians and also the hustle that they provide, because you get a bit of both. There's an honesty that I really appreciate and a hard work, because, dude, that's similar to where I grew up in West Virginia. So I appreciate it.
Brandon Ward, Lifted Innovations CEO, and that's lifted.com. When you travel, which you do often, do you like fear traveling? And now with all this sort of Max 8 and 737 Boeing stuff, they're all being grounded, and sort of America was the last country to now ground these planes until further review. Is that stuff daunting, or you just hop on a plane and go?
I mean, I had a funny experience last flight back from Toronto. I actually thought about the fact that I was 35,000 feet above the ground, and it freaked me out. And I realized I'm not doing that anymore. I kind of envision that I'm on an Airbus. That's what they call them, right? So I try not to think about the fact that I'm that high up in the air, because I do get a little freaked out about height. So I kind of put that out of my mind. And honestly, dude, Todd, from my perspective, like, If that's the way I'm going to go, man, then that's the way I'm going to go. The big man's got it. So I just kind of leave it up to the universe at that point, because, there's not really much you can do in circumstances. I try not to think about that kind of stuff.
And are you flying here anytime soon then?
I'm hoping to be back in town probably not maybe next week, but the week after that. Just trying to – the winters are tough there. Obviously, you know that. I don't need to tell you that. But always in a growth phase, we're looking to limit costs as much as possible. So the nice thing, in the early days, I was spending a lot of time in Toronto, which is I really genuinely love my time there. But now that we have a team that's built out and really hustling, they're stepping up when I'm not there. So I don't need to be there, which is a good sign of our culture and the systems that we're putting in place.
Yeah, and do people respond well to things like Google Hangout meetings? And I mean, do you encourage that for young entrepreneurs, that that's okay, and save some costs that way, as opposed to, and save time so you can actually get a lot of work done? Like, is that a new trend that is being accepted, as opposed to having to be at the office at 8:30 for the meeting? And, maybe that takes a lot of time out of someone who's got a young family at home, as opposed to, because I've always thought that you could work from home and just be just as efficient.
Yeah, and Todd, I think it does vary. I've noticed, like, personally, I could work from home, but I like going to the office. It's like I'm very much, but I've always been kind of a disciplinarian with myself. I found what works for me. I like to have that kind of separation. So when I'm home, because I just have a one-bedroom spot, it's a smaller place here in San Diego. So when I'm home, I'm relaxing, and if I work, it's very minimal, and maybe emails or some research, that type of stuff. I like the distinction between work and home, but it's different. And for the way we built our culture is, it's nice. There are core hours that we want everyone to be at the office, because things do get done rapidly when you're all brainstorming and in the same room together. But ultimately, man, some of our team members, the tech guys and stuff, they can do work from home. It's all about results. As long as our priorities are focused on appropriately and we're getting work done at a high level, I really don't care. It really doesn't matter. But dude, we use Google. Like, the Google suite of products is amazing, because every invite we send has a Google Meet or a number to call in. Everything's tied in together. We also communicate through Slack. So we use Google Drive. So for us, it's about simplifying. We're trying to simplify our processes, but have a consistent way of communicating and meeting together. And also trying to limit our meetings to 30 minutes, always having an agenda when you go into a meeting ahead of time, like posting in the invite, and then leaving with action items. So there's a purpose for the meeting, and you're leaving with stuff to do. That way, the actual movement happening on any of the, because you can easily get lost in hours of meetings and then walk away and be like, what did I just do today?
Well, I absolutely love these tips. Brandon Ward, the Lifted Innovation CEO, and you're always so good at providing us knowledge. A lot of young entrepreneurs listening to the program, and, who knows when you'll be the next CEO. And here's some great advice from a young entrepreneur himself as we document his journey, really growing this young company. And Brandon, the other thing I'd just like to say is we're really excited. I know you sat down, you recorded a bunch of these sort of tips to get you lifted, to Lifted and Lifted.com, and to motivate and to lift your spirits. And Bilal's putting those together. We're going to play those on the daily, and I find them always very encouraging, and I implore everyone to just have a listen to what Brandon says, and you do it with such couth and respect and class, and it does motivate. So thank you for your time, and have fun in San Diego. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Todd, I appreciate you, brother. Have a good rest of your day, man. I'm excited about continuing our documentation here, so have a good Wednesday, brother.
Cheers, man. Brandon Ward, everybody.
This is the Todd Shapiro Show on Canada Talks, SiriusXM 167.